Hi, I'm your host, Michelle Poverman, a former anxious empath turned mostly grounded psychotherapist, intuitive guide, and energy healer, and this is Into the Work. And it isn't just a podcast. It's your actual invitation to break free from old patterns, end the cycle of your self-abandonment, and finally step into the life your soul has been craving. Each episode is a spark to help you rise higher, to help you shine brighter and reclaim the truth of who you really are. The spark has already been lit. And sister, this is a journey from spark to brilliance. So together, let's go ignite a fire. Hello and welcome back to the show. This is Michelle Poverman, your host today, and I am just going to start with this one sentence. It is a strange time to be a light worker, is it not? In previous episodes, we have been exploring what it actually means to be a light worker and how you're the call to lead, because we talked about this last week, that picking courage over confidence, because inside you as a light worker, you have a mission. It's bubbling up inside you. So many of us, are feeling the heaviness in the air. We're feeling the pain and the fear and the division. So I wanted to create an episode that really speaks to you and is robust enough to help you get clarity on what you should be focusing on right now, how to show up when things are this loaded and tumultuous. And of course, I called my friend, Debra. She is my friend and fellow lightworker, and she is a genius. My guest today, Deborah C. Smith, is a marketing strategist and holistic business coach to purpose-driven entrepreneurs and host of the podcast, Mindset to Market, Holistic Business Tools for Solopreneurs. Let me just start by saying this, okay? Deborah is a gem. Okay, she does some incredibly important and powerful work. She helps us lightworkers, build systems, funnels, all the things we need so we can actually reach the people that we are here to reach and to help. So many of us really get stuck in the feminine energy, and Debra is a genius and a master at grounding us in our masculine to get shit done and get the funnels and systems that we need to support our mission. So I know if you have a mission inside of you, whether you know what it is yet or not, Debra is going to be here today to hold our hands and talk to us about what it's like to show up right now, share her wisdom, and what she understands that we need to be focused on right now. Get out and heal the world. That's our job. So welcome, Debra. Thank you so much for coming on. It's so good to see you.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. It's so good to be here. Yeah, I'm grateful, excited to have this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, where to begin? I think it's going to really lend nicely to head into this with you so that we can really talk about getting out there and creating and transforming the lives that we want to, right? But you're the master at the systems and also you have a really beautiful wisdom around what we need to be doing for ourselves in terms of getting out in a world that's just like cuckoo bananas right now, right? Like it's just really, really hard every day. And so how are you helping your people? What advice are you giving about stepping out into the world right now and showing yourself and trying to hold a high vibe and get out there and smile when things seem so hard?
Yeah. Well, first thing that comes to mind, honestly, is that those of us who identify and understand that our energetic gifts are actually a service and have made the decision to try and turn that into a viable business. Like if you know that part of your mission and your gift here as a embodied human being in a very wild, energetic world is to be a conduit for healing, is to help people have a transformation, is to help people realize, identify, whatever blocks or energetic shifts they could have. It'll help them feel better, have a better day, make progress in whatever area of the world you serve in. Right now, even though it is a tremendously difficult time to be alive and witnessing so much pain, in some way it makes our job easier because it's critical that we show up and serve. It's critical for the world for us to step up and I've talked to lots of my fellow empaths and fellow, you know, healers who do business coaching and or whatever they do as a service to help women, specifically entrepreneurs, like step up and lead. And I don't think there's anybody, doing this work right now who doesn't feel the fear involved in becoming visible for your work and being seen as a leader and stepping up and claiming your space. But in some ways, it's easier than ever because it's like do or die, right? When people are out there just like, like saying the like quiet part out loud about how they would prefer to just call entire parts of society, when there are people out there who are like willing to just like look the other way while like there's a genocide happening, using our tax dollars, when there's like entire, leadership teams just willing to sacrifice people's health care and food needs. And when we see all of that, painful imbalance in our world, it's almost easier to say, you know what, the gloves are off. I've got to show up and serve. I've got to help people find balance. And it's our job to step up and to raise our hands and say, okay, I'll do it. I'll be the one. I'll be the one that helps you get through this. I'll help with your transformation. I'll help with your healing. So to answer the question about how I'm serving my clients, as a business coach, I call myself a holistic business coach because I come from the wellness industry. I started as a holistic health coach, immediately realized I wanted to do something with a higher touch point and built a product-based business. And what that looked like was basically, a long story short, a juice bar, but that had a coaching component to it. And that had both wellness coaching and also business coaching. So
yes, we have an episode on that, and I will go ahead and put that in the show notes so you can actually hear the interesting. I mean, Debra was brilliant at health coaching, and she was amazing at nutrition, and that was your whole world before you got started into helping people in business. Yeah, so we have a whole episode on that. Yeah,
it's been sort of like flip-flopping back and forth because I come from marketing and business, and I got into health coaching because I was pursuing my own wellness and discovered this amazing way to live your life holistically and balance things, and how much happier and healthier I felt. So I became like just so passionate about helping others do that. But at the same time, I was running a business successfully. And I had this, kind of flip-flop coaching program where some of my clients were business clients who needed the wellness piece attached. And some of my clients were wellness clients who also wanted help with their businesses. And it just, whichever one it was, we were kind of packaging the same skill sets, right? So anyways, what I think about, showing up, visibility, number one, it's critical. We have to be willing to step up and say, even though this is painful and this is difficult and this is uncomfortable, I'm here to serve. And the number one thing I think aids us in being able to do that is ritual self-care. So, literally having, some type of daily routine or morning routine that protects your energy, especially for us porous empaths who really feel everything. I mean, it is brutal out there. So we need tools to guard our precious resource, which is the energy, right? If you are porous, the very thing that makes you a healer is the thing that makes you vulnerable. And so you need some mechanisms and tools and structured ritual in place to help guide your day where, you are replenishing your energy, you are protecting your energy, you are literally zipping up your energy to go out there onto the internet or into the world and do your work without it derailing you emotionally and depleting you of that very resource that is your gift, right?
And as you say that, what's making me think or what I'm thinking right now is like, there's this work that we have to do to stay clean and stay vibrant, right? At a time where it is so easy. It's like a virus, really. It's so easy to catch this virus where you are resentful and angry and frustrated and hurt and worried and in fear. And I just want to say what I'm hearing, what I'm being inspired into right now is that our business is also an extension of us. And our businesses also needs to be held in the same bubble. that there needs to be something sacred that we hold around the business so that we recognize that it also doesn't catch the virus and that it can thrive and it can stay alive and it can be built at a time when there's this viral toxicity going around everywhere. And so we can, look at, okay, these are the things I got to do to energetically clear myself every day. But what are we doing to make sure that we're staying in our integrity and we are facing our own fears? Right? Because when we're being pummeled everywhere, right? We have more anxiety. We're going to have more anxiety about everything than we do about just what's happening in the world, right? We can be in a more anxious state and be more afraid of being visible and be more afraid of putting ourselves out there. And of course, I'm going to name it. I know you're thinking it. A lot of us are also afraid of being tone deaf or seeming like, hey, let's do a joy. Let's create joy all night together. I'm going to hold a service where we just feel joy. And people are like, did you not see what's happening out there?
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do we get out there and really, I think part of it's informing people of the power. And that's what these my previous episodes to us today talking have been about, the power that love and joy hold vibrationally. Our job as lightworkers on the planet is to actually do maintain that space. That is really important to the planet that we stay. And our businesses offer that same extensions of us of joy and healing and right. That love and gratitude and higher vibrational being is like actually cool still in business, and that it's okay. It's okay. Right. But I know we're all a little afraid of being tone deaf.
Yeah. I mean, of course, like if, look, the internet is a product of a giant collection of brains, right? It's not just, it's that what's beautiful about it is that it's this ever present, massive network of inputs. And so you're never going to please everybody. You're going to do something at becoming visible and being seen and talking about your business and selling your services and getting paid for your worth and all of that stuff requires being seen, requires visibility. So someone's not going to like it. Somebody out there is going to have something negative to say. The more visible you become, the bigger your audience, the larger your reach and impact, the more likely you will have naysayers and people who you rub the wrong way, because not everybody is operating with a healed nervous system. And so not everybody is walking around feeling like it's safe to express themselves. And if they don't feel like it's safe, you're going to trigger them when you safely express yourself, right? So 100% you can guarantee that the more, positive and healed you are, the more you're going to trigger people who are unhealed and who are managing low self issues that you have overcome.
Yes.
So, but it is not in service to them for you to be quiet, because you're showing them an example of how they can also reach a position. Look, everybody wants to feel better. People don't necessarily want to stay stuck and struggling, but while they are stuck and struggling, it's such an icky feeling that it can be like passing the poison. So I think there's a couple of things that came to mind when you were just talking. Number one, this is a little bit like the feminine and the masculine side of being a human being and being a business person, but healing and the art of transformation and energy work and being a light worker, being someone who has a porous energetic system by which they can help people have a transformation where they can really help people shift energy, which is a huge part of healing. That's very feminine, and it's very, it's a softer type of work. Business is about making money. Businesses are designed to sustain your lifestyle by helping you, generate an exchange, so that the work you do has value in the marketplace and you are compensated in some way. And unfortunately for us, we live in a world where we need food, shelter, water. We need money. We need the common currency, right? We need to get paid dollar bills, or we need some type of an exchange that equals that value, whether that be someone putting food on your table or, in exchange for your work, you get your rent is deferred. Like somehow you need your basic needs met through your business. So if you're going to be a successful business owner who can grow and thrive and impact people and heal, you need to make money. And that's the masculine part of what you're doing. And so I think it's very helpful to separate those two things out and say, I'm tapped into my feminine, healing, porous, light worker energy when I'm doing my work. But when I'm supporting my work by having a business container within which I can sustain it, that's when I'm tapping into the masculine side. And I'm doing, kind of like nuts and bolts type things that keep it running and keep it, operate the system that continues to generate new leads, automates the nurture sequences that help us connect with those people and show them a little bit about who we are, automatically sends them an invitation to join your program and or buy your offer package, whatever, without you having to necessarily be constantly in sales mode yourself. Like that's why automations and the tech stuff is so powerful, because it supports you in letting go of that masculine work so you can be tapped in to the feminine part of the business, which is you doing the thing you do. So if you can think about it, just separate the two things, right? Your feminine energy is there to help you sustain the transformations, the healing work, to be that porous, light, effervescent channel so that you can receive people's, whatever's coming in and just let it move through you. You need to be open. You need to be soft. You need to be porous. You need to be available for the transformational energy work. And then that's very different than the like writing emails, like setting up these like tactical strategies. And so I really, in my business, I separate those two things out. I have blocks of time for the like nuts and bolts, kind of very masculine sales stuff.
Yeah.
Working on the business. And then I really try to contain, that's a huge part of what I do, right? I have to sell my offers. But when I'm with a client and I'm working in the business, like when I'm working, as the coach, as the holistic healer, helping a woman figure out her stuff, I need to be open. I need to receive. I need to listen. I need to be embodying kind of like the transformational, energy holder. It's just a really different role.
Yeah. And I'm hearing so much in what you just said, but I'm going to just highlight a couple things. So clearly, the big message here is that it's really important for us to be in both our masculine and our feminine. And a lot of us healer types, a lot of us, and this is my listeners aren't just healers. They're out in the world doing all sorts of things, right?
Yeah.
They're doing all sorts of business, all sorts of things. And all of us, though, I think are sensitive types, are seeker types, right? We really idolize or really enjoy desiring the feminine frequency, right? We want to be in that frequency. We want to feel that. We want to build more of that in our life. It feels soft. It feels good. And many of us struggle going into the masculine. And so just as you're saying this, I want to say to those of you that are listening that also have some old money stories, right? I just want to mention this. I don't want to go too far, take us off track, but I feel like it has to be said that if you have money stories about, that, it's not just about making money, like, because we are talking about, you leading into something like business or leading into something like you're making a difference in the world and having impact. I'm telling you that if you are struggling for your survival, if you are struggling to make your bills meet, right? Like if you're trying to get food on the table and you're trying to, get all your bills paid and you can't, I'm telling you, the impact you have in the world is smaller. It just is. It's harder to hold the energy to get out into the world when you yourself are struggling in that sense. And so we have to look beyond, looking at our businesses and the health and well-being of them and our desires and our, leadership in terms of, nobody out in the world that made a huge difference. Very few of them, even Mother Teresa had a private jet, right? Right. So, yes. So, right. So we are really out here. The more money financial we have, the more we can step into our masculine. I love what you're saying, Deborah. Like the more we can do those systems and funnels and get them going or hire somebody else to do them. Yeah. Debra, right? Which we can talk about, right? So Deborah's helped me because that isn't my strength always, right? And so really understanding the importance of the business needs both. And people are like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to do that email list. I've had a lot of clients be like, oh, I don't want to do the email list. That's just like such a pain. And I'm like, if you don't build a place for people to go, a place to reach people that belongs to you, right? If you don't want to put yourself out there, then you're not going to have an impact. If you want to really serve, and that's what I love what you said, we're really turning this into service, selling and being putting yourself out there, making yourself visual. It's all about service.
Yeah. Every single business needs two systems in place that are not negotiable. One is a way to generate new leads, new people coming into your business, new clients. Very few businesses rely forever on the same people forever. That just isn't how businesses operate. So if you're listening to this and you are an entrepreneur, I know not every single person listening to this is an entrepreneur, but for those people who are, cultivating income through service of some kind, you are going to need to constantly connect with new audience members and convert those people into what we call leads, which is people who might be interested in buying from you. And then the step after that is to convert those leads to sales. So you need a lead generation system, a way to connect with new people and build your audience to connect with new voices. And then, you need a simple way to offer them your work and make sales.
So there are definitely like a couple groups of people that are listening right now. Some of them are like, hey, they're glazing over right now. They're suddenly like something is shiny object nearby. I don't know, right? They hear lead generation. They hear these things and they're like, oh, that just sounds so like beyond my pay grade. I don't know what that is. They didn't grow up in the world of business, but they want to get out and really make a difference. And then there are those people that are like, oh yeah, she's speaking my language, right? So let's kind of address that. There's sort of there's different stages you can be in this. And while we're holding the container for the world being what it is right now and the difficulties that we can face in all sorts of ways in business right now and in shining our light and getting out there, we do have people in their different progression. And so maybe you could speak a little bit to, some of the things that you do, that you help people in this different progression a little bit, because there's some of those people that are in the very beginning phases. Like, I think we talked about it before, like there's people that actually don't have a product yet, but they have it inside them. There's something like sparkling and they haven't gotten it out and really created the thing.
Yeah.
Right?
If you feel called to be of service in the world as a light worker, if you're listening to this series and you're thinking, Michelle is really speaking to me, I never necessarily called myself a light worker, but I am, it is part of my gift is helping people have a transformation, whether you're a massage therapist or a Reiki practitioner or a yoga teacher or a therapist, or you work with animals, or, you're a chef or a mindset coach, or there's so many different ways that you can be doing transformational healing work.
You can be, you can work at a bank. You can bag groceries.
Accountant. Exactly. There's a million different. In fact, I would argue that being a light worker is unrelated to niche
profession,
or type of job or profession.
It is about showing up in the world.
Yeah, it's about shining, really, and showing people the way. And I think, traditionally, there have been belief systems built around healing work. I think we all inherited these belief systems about, energy transformation and or light worker type, personalities, like the archetype of a light worker, and how that's is not associated with money and business and sales and that very masculine thing. But the reality is that, and as you said already, the greater your impact, the more that sales is service. So your ability to connect with people and call them into your work and help them is you doing a service. And so the mindset shift really is, instead of me selling you something and like needing you to give me money and having this icky relationship around money and putting a dollar amount on your time and your energy, which is, I think, where the real struggle comes from, is like, how do you put a price tag on, helping somebody awaken from an old, energetic layer of themselves,
Wound or whatever, yeah.
a wound or something like that. Like, it's really hard to put a price tag on the work, and it feels kind of icky to try to do that. But the shift is that there has to be some way for them to buy in to have the transformation. So sales is just energy. It's no different than shaking hands. It is just an exchange of energy. So it could be a dollar amount for your time amount. It could be, some type of an even exchange of another type. But at some point, everybody, for the transformation to occur, there needs to be buy-in from both sides. And because of the type of world that we live in, the easiest container to do that in is to create some type of spacious container, whether that be a program or an offer, a session or a class or something. Just give it a shape, give it a name, and then ask for an exchange. And you could put a price tag on it, or you could say, or something of equal value that I want to receive in exchange for my time and energy. It's just, if you break it down as an exchange of energy and you remove the belief systems around money and energy, it's a lot easier to serve, because really, truly, light workers are here to serve. Mm-hmm. And you're serving in some capacity, whether or not you're getting paid for it. So the idea of being compensated for your time and your energy is that when you are well taken care of as the healer and the light worker, you have the capacity to expand and reach more people. So as you said really beautifully, Michelle, your ability to grow your income gives you more, you have more literally capital with which to build something that allows you to reach more people and do more light work and have a greater impact and heal more people, help more people have a transformation. So it's actually a very positive, powerful thing to get paid for your work and to conduct sales. And, I think there are some very basic steps that you can do to kind of audit your own energy and notice where there are blocks coming up. I was mentioning this to you before, but I'll tell you now again. For my own clients, my private coaching client groups, I was seeing this over and over again where people were really struggling with the sales piece. So they would do an amazing job at offer creation. I would help them walk through the tech pieces and really set up these automated systems for, creating an audience and inviting people into an audience. Having an email list where it's really easy to just send a little note once a week and be like, hey, this is how I'm doing. How are you doing? Just basic nurturing, right? Keeping in touch with these people in a proprietary way. And then there's the sales piece. And we'd get to the sales piece and there would be a lot of resistance and blocks. So I created a private podcast. It's a 6-episode private series called the Premium Client Energetic Self-Audit. It really just walks you through one step at a time. Where might you be blocked around connecting with those ideal clients and being comfortable saying, yeah, my work is $2,000. Yeah, my work is $250 an hour. Yeah, my work is, just easily saying the value of your time and energy and leading them to that exchange with confidence. Once you arrive at that place where you're like, absolutely, I'd love to support you in this way. This is how I work with people. This is what it costs. This is how I onboard clients. This is the shape of my container. This is what I look for in exchange. Like that, the easier that becomes for you, the more impact you can have, the more help you can give, the more lives transformed. And that is what you're here to do. So if somebody out there listening is like, I want to do this type of work for people, or I want to build a business offer, but I'm stuck on how to price it or how to sell it, and I feel really uncomfortable with that, this energetic self-audit just guides you with like some journal prompts and some questions through where might you be blocked and can you let go of these limiting beliefs around exchanging value, because honestly, sales is service. The more you sell, the more you can serve. And if you're here to serve, you feel called to serve, then you have to embrace the sales piece of it. And I mean, you can certainly outsource sales. There are entire agencies that do that kind of work. But my belief personally is that solopreneurs and entrepreneurs won't even be successful with a sales team if you don't energetically feel aligned.
Mhm.
And that alignment comes from having confidence in your work as a healer, as a light worker, and being really comfortable saying what that value looks like for you.
And I'm really like I'm actually really I'm really interested in ethical sales. So it really matters to me. Like when when I'm talking to somebody, or I just had a call at somebody interested in wanting to join my program, and I'm like, what is this good for you? I I think I can't say enough about dropping the energy of scarcity, dropping the energy of like needing somebody to do something. And maybe this is my therapy background. I'm sure it is. It has helped guide me here very quickly. But I I just as a light worker, as healers, as whether you're designing homes or whether you're out selling them, like whatever your job is, there's ways to do it that you can stay in your integrity. And there's a ways you can do it where you're still being your inner light worker is being served, where you are like stepping forward and saying, I'm here to be a light. I'm here to show the path. I'm here to help you. And this has to be absolutely your free will. Like, I'm not going to trick you or pressure you or get you to like try to get you to say yes. And maybe you'll regret it later. Maybe you won't, but I got your money. Right. So there's this shift that's happening on a conscious level. And I know that that's also something that you really embrace, and I really honor that, and I admire that. I think that's really, really important right now, especially during these times.
Yeah, I think the easiest equation or the easiest way to think about that, about ethical sales as, sort of as a concept, is how would you like to feel if you were in the market for a service? And if you don't like the feeling of being told that you're missing out, and if you don't like the feeling of being told everybody's doing it this way and you're the only one that's not, and if you don't like the feeling of being, kind of like the FOMO tactics that are very, very, very traditional bro marketing. And I say bro marketing because unfortunately, all marketing systems that have been, have textbooks written about them that are being taught in college courses come from masculine archetypes. And so that is rapidly, especially with the advent of AI and how much information is now just easily available, it's shifting. And there's a lot of people talking about how that no longer works. And so there's a way to create the energy of momentum and to invite people who are ready to make a decision ethically without the fear mongering and without the scarcity mentality. And the two tools that I see working really, really well, first of all, transparency and authenticity. That's the key, especially for people who are energy workers, healers, light workers. Your authentic message is what we really want from you. We don't want slick marketing. We don't want, these slick, sales tactics. Nobody wants that in any industry, in any niche. It's just that that's all there ever was. And so people learned that and then taught that.
Yes.
But what we really want is to understand clearly and without a lot of, wasting of time, how will you help me go from where I am now to where I need to be? If somebody is considering working with you or wants to buy something from you, they just need information. They need to know, how long is it going to take for me to get the result I'm after? How many hours of my own time do I have to invest to get this result? If it's a receiving type role, like a massage, is there prep that I should be doing before I get to the session? If there's all different kinds of information pieces that you can put into your marketing so that it speaks for you, so that people can just if they scroll to your Instagram page, the top 3 pinned posts tell people who you are and how you serve. An example, like a case study of how somebody that you've worked with got a transformation that's much like the one that they might be seeking. And then just frequently ask questions that answer all their questions. Put it all right out there. Be transparent with your pricing. Be
Oh,
transparent with how you shape a container and what you expect in exchange.
it drives me crazy when people don't put their pricing out. They want to get on a phone call with you before they're going to let you know their pricing.
Yeah,
It drives
I
me,
find that to be
I
a
don't love
side
it.
element of like poor ethics around marketing and sales, because
Mhm.
like there are psychological reasons that human beings make a purchase, okay? And
Yes.
everybody, you can look this up online. This is all free information. We know as marketers and salespeople that there are certain triggers that are going to cause a person to feel like they want to take an action. And the sort of icky side of sales is manipulating those triggers. The ethical side of sales is understanding those triggers and then literally being just very transparent about what parts of your business align with those natural instincts in a human being. So
Mhm.
for example, Michelle, if let's say, let's just take a health coach, for example. So you have, let's say, a 3 to 6 month coaching program, and your focus is, let's say, helping people learn to cook the plant-based diet. That's something that I did a lot of work around. It's a big transformation for people because you're asking them to change a behavior, and behavioral change is the hardest thing to sell.
Mhm.
So it's not small potatoes. It's not like, if you were selling a haircut and somebody's paying you $40 before they go in, you have long hair. When they come out, you have a haircut with a style. It's a pretty cut and dry package of what you're selling. You're selling a haircut or hair coloring. But when you're selling transformation, such as go from, the standard American diet to eating in a way that's aligned with your health goals, well, not only are they changing the food that's on their plate, they're changing their entire belief systems around, number one, what the food, the meaning of the food. They're changing their behavior on a daily basis. It's big transformation work. It's not small work. And to get people to do that, a lot of times they need to have skin in the game. They won't do the work if they haven't paid or put some type of investment on the line that forces them to show up. And so charging people for that type of work, that type of behavioral change, transformational work, is the only way they'll do it.
And making assumptions about whether they can or cannot afford something, is it's not fair. Making any
Right.
assumptions like, oh, this is too much. That recognizing that actually is belittling. That is actually not in service and
But
support
your
of the
only
person.
job in terms of marketing that is to show ethically
Mm-hmm.
how that work is going to get done, the type of exchanges that you'll have, the type of program that you're offering, the type of sacrifices they might need to make, like really just put it all out there. People ask me all the time, like, will this work for me when they come into my program? And the honest answer is only if they have the capacity to show up and do the work.
Yeah.
And so
It's
instead
so
of
true.
selling you a program that I know will not get you any results if you don't have time and space, because
Mm-hmm.
I could easily say, yeah, it works for anybody in any niche in any business. Not true. It only works for people who have a certain capacity in their lives to think, to journal,
Mm-hmm.
to take action, to take steps, to become more visible. It's actually a big ask. I'm asking you to show up in a new way.
Mm-hmm.
And build all these little, offer components, or build a lead, a way to attract people and a way to sell to them. So you need the capacity.
Yeah, and that's gold right there, Deborah. That's gold because you are letting us know this is something you might want to really tease out with people who are coming in and want your help, right? Is really teasing out their capacity. And that is an important thing that I also have been doing is like really getting clear on that. Like how much time do you really have?
Yeah.
And what are you willing? And really getting into what are you willing to
Yeah,
do,
this is going
right?
to be transformational work.
Yeah.
To do that, you need a little bit of time each day to integrate, to process.
Yeah, transformation doesn't happen unless you have time and space and willingness.
Yeah, so you can want the end result,
Yeah.
but you can't just buy it. You need
Yes.
to actually do you yourself, taking action, making decisions, shifting beliefs, allowing yourself to slowly become more visible and seen for the work you do. That's your work. I can show you step by step how to do it, but you have to actually do it. I can't do it for you. What I can do for you might be more mechanical stuff, like build the actual sales pages and like set up your technological automations or whatever. There's some done for you stuff that can happen, but what no one can do for you is sit quietly with yourself and ask yourself, am I ready to be seen? Am I ready to serve at this level? What is my capacity? What do I have space for in my life? What am I willing to sacrifice? That's on you. And if you feel called and if you identify as a light worker, I think it's one step even further than that, which is how can I protect this in addition to building, whatever the business looks like, which can be very simple. It doesn't have to be some big, multi-tiered technical automation systems. Like at some point, if you grow huge and you have a ton of people that want what you have and you need a team and you need, really sophisticated, websites and automations, great. That's a great problem to have. But when you're first starting out, you don't need any of that. Like a lot of my clients launch with no tech at all, zero. They just have clarity on how they're going to serve and the ability to clearly speak those parameters and that container. And that's really all you need. You can do it with very basic systems outside of that.
Amazing. And I think there's a lot of people that really want to hear that right now because they're like kind of scared to start and getting stuck in the fact that, that feels all very overwhelming. And so I love that you're really clarifying that you can start with so little.
Yeah.
So we want to wrap up here because I want to be conscious of the time and your time, but I love this conversation. I really think we need to end it by letting people know and anything more about how they can work with you because you are really, really good at helping people with the structures and the things we're talking about here. All the stuff we're talking about here could be really helpful for those people that are in those places, right?
Yeah.
So I know we talked about the private podcast.
Yes.
I will link that in the show notes, okay? Is there anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, I mean, I have lots of free resources for people who are figuring out and sorting out where they're at in the process. So my podcast is called Mindset to Market, and it's weekly. I do interviews and also solo episodes, and it's all geared towards helping women solopreneurs navigate these very issues, these very decisions. And sometimes it's like a how-to practical episode. Other times it's much more just sort of soulful chats around the energetics and the mindset of being a human being in the world, trying to grow something beautiful, profitable, and impactful. I also have a few free trainings that are just videos that are like live on my website that anyone can watch anytime. I have a really great training that I've recently published around how to craft a signature offer. And by signature offer, I just mean something bespoke that sets you apart from in a lane of your own in the online marketplace. So it helps you to just get more clear how you want to show up, who you want to connect with, who is an ideal client, and what makes your offer, meaning the thing that you exchange in exchange for money, whatever that looks like, is whether it's a session, a program, a product. It helps you really shape that so that it does stand out as unique and bespoke. And I'm happy to share the link to that training. It's really helpful. And I teach free classes on a weekly basis just to kind of open the doors and meet people. That's a big way that I connect with people around how I serve. So there's that stuff. Is all lives on my website, which is deborahcsmith.com. It's DEBORAH, the letter C, and then SMITH. And I'll give you that link for the show notes. But I would say, those free trainings are designed really to just support people in making some decisions around how they want to show up. And, Michelle, just to circle back to the very first thing that you brought up on this episode, I think that right now is a difficult time for everyone. Visibility feels pretty terrifying. Going live on your Instagram feed or on your LinkedIn profile and talking about your business while there's like such really tragic things happening right in the midst, online and everywhere we look. The news cycle is it's scary. It really is. We're in a scary time. And I think it's very difficult for many, many people. So you're definitely not alone in feeling that way. So if you feel those feelings of like, how do I show up and talk about my business when, we're basically in the brink of a civil war or all these things? Well, start your day thinking about the one person who is out there that you could help. And just take 5-10 minutes every morning to envision that person. Who is he or she? What are they struggling with? And how could you help them? Whether they pay you or not. If you go into the online space or into the marketplace in, online marketing with them in mind and just one person and one singular way that you can help them, and you say, I'm going to show up today to serve, and I'm thinking about that one person, And that's all I'm here to do. And speak to that one person with your content. You can, it shifts everything. You can be confident that they're out there and they need to hear what you had to say. And just remind yourself that you are in service to that one person and speak to that one person. And that should help eliminate the fear of, any negative feedback from people or whatever, because you're doing something to help. And that's going to automatically attract the people who need you.
Oh, I love it, Debra. That is beautiful advice. It's really right on. And it's a lot of what I do myself, and just really knowing who I'm talking to, who I'm here to serve, and understanding that regardless of what's happening in the environment, whatever is happening in the world, is that person's soul, that person's journey is still craving what you have, what I have, what you have, right? And so we are here to help build each other up, and I absolutely love it. Thank you so much, Debra. This was so amazing to have you on the show again. I always love chatting. We could talk for hours about all sorts of things. So thank you for joining us, though. Thank you for all your time. Yes. And I'll be making sure everything's in the show notes. And for those of you listening, have a wonderful week. I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me on Into the Work, Therapy for Empaths and Seekers. If this episode spoke to you, please follow the podcast and leave a review. It is the best way to spread this healing work to other women. Your presence here matters. Step into your power, heal your soul, and rise with women who are doing the same. Keep joining us every week, and together we can heal the world. If you're ready to dive deeper, grab your free Shadow Work Transformation Bundle in the show notes, and I will look forward to seeing you next week.